We got, this is the We the People event. I don't have anything to say, but this is the We the People event. Yeah. Pretty self-explanatory. There's like 18 minutes probably until the event happens, so yeah. Wow. Where's Ollie there? Hi, Jaheim. By the way, I think I added you last night. Get the free rep. No, it's gonna be on like the 30th, I think. It's the We the People event. It's happening in like 17 minutes probably. So I'm just streaming early so I get ready for it to start. I'll search up what time you get the wrap later and text it to you. It's a little sleepy. Actually, I'll just do it now because we have time to wait. Yeah, I think I had to do Jaheim. I don't know though. Check your friend request for the Slag F5. Alright. Oh, frick, I just realized I'm in Phil. Should probably leave that. Wait. Oh! I just realized I was in Phil, and I was talking to a random. Ah, that's... alright. But that wrap looks pretty cool. I don't have any V-Bucks. Sorry. I only have 200. Wait, no. Turn on, don't fill. And sure, I'll add you. Invite you. A little sleepy. There you are. Here, you won't be able to see my screen for a second. I'm quickly doing something. Alright. So how to get the after party wrap, all you have to do is log into the game from July 30th to August 1st. So yeah, that's how you get it. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I need to turn off copyrighted audio. I got the battle pass at the start of the season, I think. Back in, like, on like the second day probably. Yeah. So like there was the first night of the season. I was just on. I didn't get it because my mom was asleep, and then the day after. I mean you know. All right, that's fine. Probably, if I do get V-Bucks. Yo, I don't got the battle pass, but when I get it today, oh, nice. Yeah, that's satisfying when you, like, get tier 100 and, like, you just get everything straight away. That's really cool. I wish you could get, like, grapplers or, like, quad crashers, but, because I don't like walking there. Wait, little sleepy, don't go this way, go to that bridge, it's faster. Oh, nice, it's your first ever battle pass, right? Yeah, I might gift you it if I do get V-Bucks, because the thing is, I don't know if I'll get V-Bucks for a while. It's the We the People event, Salman. It's talking about racism in America. It's 14 minutes until the event starts. Alright, I will in a second. I'll just change my glider. Oh, I just bonked you. Where did you go? Where did you? Oh, there you are. Right, you can't do emotes either. I said it, Salman. It's like, it's called We the People. It's like, oh, you have cough. It's like racism in America or whatever, you know? I think that's what it is, right? Okay, I thought I changed Ollie to the pink style. Hold on. Yeah, I did. So what the freak? Oh, okay. The music stopped for a second, so I thought it was starting. You can't do emotes or get anything because obviously you don't want people doing like bad emotes, you know, like take the L or whatever. That's just bad and disrespectful. Disrespectful. All right. Sorry. God, I got the hiccup. Sorry. Sorry for knocking you off, little Slippy. I'm gonna try and get on that rock right there. What do you mean now, Salmon? $12 minutes. It starts on the hour. This is gonna be kind of boring waiting, but oh well. Okay. Yeah, Salmon, what do you mean now? Alright, I know. Oh, you're wearing a PS Plus skin? The PS Plus skin was one of my skins that I used to always wear. Was the season 8 one, I believe? I'm gonna change skins. Bush Ranger. Alright. I'll just do it. Alright, there. It looks better with the first style. Where is it? Oh, there. There is 9 minutes, I think? Yeah, 9. I'm stupid. 9 minutes until the event starts. 4 minutes until the countdown starts. Just making sure. I am Bush Ranger. I am the king of bushes. Ah! Wow, X-Lord. I mean, Cross-Lord. Five, because that's my lucky number. saw your fifth preset, the banner skin. Alright, there. Here, Oxy Little Sleepy. Alright. You choose a number between 1 and 10 and that'll be my skin preset. Three, alright. This is my third preset. Two minutes till the countdown starts. 7 minutes until it starts fully. While we wait, if you want to see my third preset fully, because you can't really see it in Party Royale, this is my quick preset. Peely, Banana Cape, Aquaman Trident, Palm Leaf, Bananas, and Ripe. Alright, so 1 minute until the countdown starts. Yeah, like 1 minute until the countdown starts, I think. At least this is what it's done with other Party Royale events. What? Oh, right. Stupid. I have it as right on the D-pad. Countdown start? It's 4:54 right now. It's about to be 4:55. I don't. Okay. Alright, hi, Jaheim. Oh, it's not being all colorful this time. Alright, so there's the countdown. $4:40. Sure, what time is it for you? Well, I mean, probably not. I don't know. I probably will at the end of this week. I'll probably be staying up more at the end of this week. I'm probably not going to be staying up, like, that much this week. 12. I mean, yeah. I swear to God. Oh, hi. Banana! Come on, Banana. Brother, I'll let you up. Sure, someone, let me invite you. Please? Oh, wait, right, you're on pieces, so I gotta... Me, I got quite a lot. I can... Oh, wait. Salmon. Okay, can you let me scroll, please? Salmon. I'm... Trinidad? Wow. I haven't met anybody from that. Alright, please let me scroll down. Please let me scroll down. I just need to go to S. Please? What? I don't know. I know for a fact I don't have any of yours. Oh, wait, there you are, Salmon. Alright, I invited you. Let me go check. Nice. Anyways, I'll show you my skins. Got, these are my legendaries. These are my legendaries and Deadpool. Nicki Minaj. Oh, nice. Over here is, Zenith and these. Here's all my crossover skins if you're not counting Deadpool. 12. Anyways, here's my purple skins. Here's my Ripley's. Here's Ripley. Here's all my blue and green skins. So yeah, actually yeah, I do have this, which you have. Alright. Nice. Hey, brother. Okay, yes, my brother. 1 minute. 2 minutes actually, technically. Oh, you have quackling? Wait, are you that? Oh, I think I remember you now. You were that quackling, the blue quackling, I think, was it? You were that blue quackling on my team while doing Killstreakers Customs, right? Nice! I just remembered you now. I'm sorry I didn't remember you before, but that's cool. Yeah, like I said, you can't emote, so. Sadly, like, listen, you can even hear me pressing my down button, see? Well, you can't hear it, but I am. I'm gonna go change the quackling then, before this thing starts quick. Alright. I'll be yellow quackling just so I can keep all my stuff. What the? Did you see that? Please tell me you guys saw that. Freaking like the quacklings were like a hot dog and Journey. Did you see that? Hopefully. Let me go into game chat. Alright.
Okay. What's good?
10. You might want to ready up fast because.
Yeah, I already have.
Alright, good. Good, it's starting in. Oh, it's done. Starting in like 3, 2, 1, I think.
I already did. Oh shoot! I have my stream. I have the stream still on.
They mad, they high. They getting the bag,
Wait,
better than
did
having
the
some
event start
hard.
already?
Look now,
Yes, it did.
look how they running. They beating white people down just to show us what's coming. Or to show us we nothing. Or to
You can
show
still
us we
watch.
only welcome us singing or balling. Shut up and dribble.
You can still watch.
High rock. Low.
Well, yeah, now it's
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie Champion. Welcome to the So today we are having a very candid
Can you turn off the voice changer for this?
We want to make sure that you
God,
use
it's
your
so
voice
big,
to
it's so
vote.
Can you turn off the voice changer for this?
So we have so many different issues that have happened in this country. It's really truly unprecedented time. So I'm looking forward to these conversations. I think you'll be educated as well as
It doesn't matter.
entertained.
Go to the big
Informed.
screen.
We have morethanvote.org, morethanvote.org, and Fair Fight.
Alright, can you turn off your voice changer? It's on the left side of the map.
As we try to change.
Also, all of a sudden, you don't like my voice changer.
Why, dude? Just this is kind of serious, so.
Yeah, la la.
God,
There's
my
no
game
way
is
that
so
we don't have,
laggy.
or even the fact
It's
that
like if I ate a ball of
black voter
wool.
suppression without bringing this guy straight from Texas. We were talking about Bumby. He is
I'll
an
just
activist,
mute him for
scholar,
now.
and an all-around gentleman. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Fun. I don't want to start heavy, but I guess I have to because that's where we are in the world today. It's heavy as hell. And when you think about what needs to happen in this country in terms of change, what's the first thing that you think of?
Equality. That's pretty much the first thing that comes to mind, right? Black people need to be seen as equals in this world. You know, we had to fight just to be recognized as a full citizen in this country and not 3/5.
The world is now seeing what we've known for so long in the culture and in the community. The one way that we can fight is obviously voting. Talk to me about what voting means to you.
I hear people all the time talk about one vote doesn't matter and that voting doesn't make a difference. If that's true, why do they work so hard to suppress the black vote? Because they understand the power of the vote. And so it's time that black people collectively also understand the power of their vote. And not just on the national level, because a lot of times we only have this conversation every 4 years. People need to be very much involved in their local politics. They need to understand who their elected officials are, where they stand on issues that affect you. You need to use
No,
your
I
vote
am
to
not.
either support the ones
But
that
I still think it's
care about
serious,
you
so
and your condition,
I wanted him
or
to
to
turn off
elect
his voice
people who
changer.
do. A newer initiative that we're dealing with is educating felons, right? So in the state of
Did you turn
Texas,
off the voice changer?
if you're a felon, right, if you've been
Hold
sentenced to
on.
jail or to prison, but you're no longer on probation or parole, you have the right to register to vote.
Yep. There we
Another
go.
thing
Very good.
that was just brought to my attention is an
So wait,
initiative called
why
Orange,
did you
which is happening not just in Houston,
make me
but all
turn
over
it
the
off
country.
again?
If you're in
Because
jail
this is kind of
currently,
serious.
during pre-trial, but you have not been convicted, like you're still in jail waiting for your day in court, you are still eligible to vote.
And you said something so key. They work so hard to hope that we stay uninformed, but more importantly, to suppress the black vote. If you could do one thing with this message that we're trying to send today about how important voting is, what type of images would you like for people to understand and see when they go to these polls and vote, or when they cast their
There we go.
ballots?
I think the images that we've all seen, you know what I'm
By
saying?
the way,
For
Solomon, this is
decades in this
about
country,
Black
if
Lives
not
Matter. What
centuries
I
in this
talked
country,
about you.
we've
What I
seen black
talked to
people
you
oppressed, we've
before
seen
about.
black people
Remember?
attacked. So every
Yeah.
time you look back
Yep.
and you see
And now
those
I
old black and white
now I
images
am
of people of color being attacked by
now I am
dogs, and people of
sleeping
color
on top
being
of a
sprayed with
rock.
hoses, that's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were
Yeah.
just fighting for a chance to vote. People like
36
Martin
did
Luther King
work.
Jr., people like Malcolm X, these people died to help
Black
us
Lives Matter.
be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your
Hold on.
own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city are not open to police reform, are not open to having a conversation
My
about defunding the
sensitivity is
police,
super.
are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter, who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, vote them out. It's that simple. Just vote them out. We don't have enough time to sit around and hope that people change their mind.
Yeah, Bumpy, you point out something so important. We have the power, and that is in our vote, and that is with our voice, and that's how we use our voice. I think of where we are right now. People say this is a particular moment, but it is a movement, not just a moment, it is a movement. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that the chosen brutality for people to say, oh my God, black people are still oppressed in this country, and it is not fair?
I think it's twofold, Carrie. In so many different encounters between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof of what happened in the interaction. And so what happens is in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone
Oh,
was
so
at
that's
home,
how he works.
basically during this time period in relation to the coronavirus, you couldn't avoid it, right? It was on every television station, it was on every social media platform. Everywhere you turn, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that this man did nothing to deserve what happened.
That's right. I think so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it, and he didn't have to lose his life. I think that we touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now funding the police.
I'll end
That
the
is
stream and then
such a
after I'll make a new
this
stream where I'm
concepts
actually
around
playing.
defunding and
Chicken.
dismantling. If you will,
You
educate
might
the
hate
audience.
me for this,
All right,
but
so most
I just
people, when they hear
remembered
the
a
term
TikTok
defund the police, they tend to
that
think
said,
of, oh, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing
Okay,
could be
just
further from the
just tell
truth.
me this after this. Tell me after
Defunding the
this. Tell me
police
this
means
after
that
this.
in
Tell
certain
me after
communities,
this.
Houston, take for example,
Well,
we had
good
over
thing
$1
they
billion
hopefully didn't
allocated to
hear
our
it.
police force. Now, what is that money being used for?
Sure.
Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shield, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget, right? So why would the people want to supply the police?
But yeah, after I'm done with this, I'll end the stream and start up a new stream where I'm actually playing.
With a higher crime rate. Well, higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their
Reality.
families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be a less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure that we're holding our leaders accountable. Talk to me about some of the other projects that you're doing.
Well, right now, obviously, being a part of More Than a Vote is essential. We're dealing with primaries in this country right now, and we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are tired,
The
they're
president fall
angry,
out,
they're
fall
concerned,
off the
and they
road.
want information and they want action. And so we want to make sure that we give them the right information and lead them in the right direction. And we thank the people
I
that do
could
not
have
look
not.
like us for standing with us right now
Oh,
because it's very important
sorry.
that
Hmm.
people who aren't black be involved because if black people could have gotten
What?
rid of racism, we would have done it hundreds of years ago.
I
And
had
so
the
I'm trying to use
idea.
my voice and my platform
What? I
just
can't
to
hear
let
you.
people know that if they feel
Okay,
like I
so
do,
I had
there's
the
a number of
idea.
places
I
they can
wasn't gonna
go
do this,
to
but
enact change in their
I just
community.
had
People need to
the
know
thing in
about how
my
their city
mind, like,
council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when
what
city
about if I
council meets,
respawned
to let
and
them
said,
know that that's not the way that they feel
was
their city
this
needs to
what
be
George
run.
Floyd
Those are
did?
not the
Okay,
places that
dude.
they feel the money of their
And but
community needs to be allocated.
but be even a step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions. Like people act like they leave it up to somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board. It's not hard to be a part of the city council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your town is, you can be a mayor. It's the power is with the people, and we need to just know that that's happening.
Absolutely. And it's always been with the people. You know, if you look at Trayvon Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton, right? She felt that there was a system of racism and a system of oppression that led to her son's death. And so what did she do? She ran for city council and she was elected city council. Our own former president, 44, Barack Obama, right, started in the community as an activist, ran for an elected position, became senator, ran for another elected position, became president of the United States. So don't think that you can't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of power. Your voice is enough to make a difference.
Amen. I feel like I need to go out and run for something. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. When I talk to my brothers, I have to ask you as a black man, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a very strong relationship with God, so prayer definitely works for me. I have children and grandchildren who are watching me, who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now, you know, and that's really what matters, you know. The change starts at home, you know, so as long as you have a support system that believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing, you have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help you. So you can go to places like morethanavote.org. There are
Yeah.
many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and they will put you with groups of people that feel like you that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
We're stronger together. People have been saying it, but that has much more meaning now that we are in our movement, not just this movement. Ruby, it has been an education, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the way.
Keep up the good fight.
Alright.
Yeah, la la.
Bone
So our
or
next guest, I
anything.
have to admit, I'm a fan, but there are so many different people that we could talk to, and I thought it was so imperative that we speak with her. You know her as Molly on the huge, successful show Insecure, HBO's Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her adventure with Roots, and she's an amazing podcast.
I don't know, but if you want to leave and like play or something, it's fine. I don't know. Probably like an hour or something, or like 30 minutes. I don't know.
To your space. And
Yeah,
right now,
probably not 30 minutes
you look
actually.
across this country and how everyone is so broken and so upset. It's not social injustice.
So
It's a pandemic. It's
it's probably
depression.
gonna last like an hour. So if you do want to leave, it's fine.
How are you doing?
You know, I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard but necessary. That will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but no, I think I personally think that God put all of us on a global timeout. Like we just, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeout because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we're still in the principal's office hoping and wishing we could come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout, and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from the season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so personally for me, I'm taking this time to learn me in a new way. I feel like I'm being ushered into a new season and I'm getting still because sometimes the busy uh confounds the work that we're supposed to actually be doing. You know, we're busy doing other stuff, but we got work that we need to do on the inside. And I'm like, I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang,
Wait,
I thought I was
yes?
gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And this guy's like, nah, we got work to do.
Here, I'll do that
You
so
know
you can
what? And
both
I
see
think
it.
that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's
What's
demanding
his
that we
epic
be
name?
better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But like, no, seriously, sit down and let's reevaluate some things. Let us unearth and shake up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves, within our
I'm going to
nation.
his German, turn it
I
all
think
the way
America
down.
is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one, and I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, oh, I was on the subway for an hour, so I didn't miss that thing that happened. No, everybody was home. Everybody, was
Turned to
watching
galaxy
when
skin, so
George Floyd
let me
died,
check.
and everybody, no one could hide it. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper
Eh,
called the cops.
probably
Like,
if people
this is
actually do
a
want to do
time where
that,
it's like,
so.
oh, we can't pretend it away.
Oh no.
We can't excuse it away. No, 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 no. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And
I'm
globally, it's
gonna
like,
go.
hey,
I
we were
see where
going
he's
business as
watching it,
usual,
so I'm gonna
but
go down there to
it
check.
ain't usual no more.
He's
Like
like
that
down
that's
here-ish.
that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. And so right now we're
Yeah,
sitting with the
I don't think
we're
so. I
getting
wish. That would be cool.
we're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
The minorities, we've been comfortable with being uncomfortable because that
Yeah,
to me
he's like up
explains
here.
just the existence for whatever we want to do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves one of the few, one of the first. And that's a lonely road. When you look at, and you talk about this global timeout, everybody had to pay attention to Amy Cooper. Everyone had to pay attention to George Floyd.
I'd be
How
downloaded
is
to
that
VTubers if they
helping us
wanted
as
to.
a people, as a country during our global timeout?
I think, well, one, we're not minorities. Carrie, you already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us. It's like the same way of saying like black on black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding,
Yeah, right.
right? It's all branding.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, well then let's brand white on white violence. Like I watch Investigation Discovery. Ain't too many of us really featured. So I just even like, but to answer your question, what does that do? I think what everyone expected is what has happened in the past when the world was still open, right? In that, okay, you had everyone from Trayvon Martin to Castillo to Sandra Bland. You had all of these lives lost, and black people made some noise. We rioted, we got out in the streets, we started the Black Lives Matter movement, all of those things. And then white people kind of just like, oh, let's give them something, and then it's just like, is it over? It's like Oscars
Yeah,
so
never mind.
black.
I'll just.
Okay, good. We gave some Oscars. Are we good
I'll
now?
just
Like,
collect
are
this.
we even? And it's now it's just like, oh no, 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 no. This is not about like a band-aid. It's like, yo, we might have to amputate the leg a little bit, but it's all right. We're gonna By amputating the leg, we're gonna save the body. And so I think that's what's happening now. Like America is realizing, like, oh, black people aren't just making a little bit of noise. Like the protests are still out. The conversations are still being had. The change is still being demanded. And I think they're seeing, oh, this is not going no way. And no, it's not, because we need systematic change.
What a beautiful way to explore what is happening and describe our country. We might have to amputate the leg, but that's to save the body. That's what's happening right now. That's beautiful. And to that end, I have to ask you this, because the way that we do that, we use our voice. And our voice right now in this world, in this country, is our vote. And everyone talks about voting and how important it is, but I feel like more than ever we understand that it's not just about voting every 4 years for the man in office. It's about your local elections. It's about the mayor. It is about the district attorney, the people who have the power to bring bringing charges against police if police brutality is an issue in your community. If you care about your school district, you can run for the school board.
Actually, since you don't like want me to do your intro for your stream or whatever.
You are Nigerian. You talk about that very lovingly. What does voting mean for you?
You know, I think voting is power. I remember, I became a naturalized citizen back in the 90s when, because I was still a minor, my mom naturalized, and so we were able to do it under her. And just even that power of like, we are American citizens, and all the access that we have by being one of those accesses and those access to power being voting. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because not only do we have the opportunity to be in the country, but now we can be of the country, we can be of the system, we can be of the rules, we can be of what it actually affords. But I think going back to your earlier comment about just the setup of system, I think we are done a disservice either in schools or whatever it is, and I'm not putting teachers on blast. I think teachers do a phenomenal job, but for some reason we do not, and give them all the praise. I know too many parents who are like, this child of mine, I do love them, but hey, where can I drop them off? And I do think that there's a disservice done because, again, when we talk about this issue of hate, we talk about every 4 years. It's important to vote for the presidency. We don't realize, like, oh, snap, we actually can vote about, like, how much our libraries get. It's like small things like that, but they make a big difference.
When you think of voter suppression in this country, what does it look like?
It's the system. When we talk about voter suppression, we also talk about systematic racism, right? It's all the systems that's set up. And we've normalized, okay, maybe your job will give you a half day, or maybe, you'll be able to get this luxury. It shouldn't be a luxury. It should be built into the system. It should be built into the fabric of how we vote. But maybe you'll be able to get this luxury in order to enable you to go vote. Think about everything disenfranchised, marginalized Black person has to endure in a day. So in a day, you need to get to work. If something happens to your car, if something happens to your child care, if something happens to, there's so many factors along the way that can send you into a tailspin as an American. And then you add on as a person of color. If you're just trying to get to vote and you already have to go through all of these hurdles and hoops in your everyday life, imagine the one day when your voice really is supposed to matter the most in the country. But then you also see all the time you try to have your voice matter, and then it's been shut down, repressed, told it doesn't matter, and then you're kind of like, what's the point?
How do we keep hope though? If I'm watching this right now, how do we as a people stay hopeful? How do we believe in the promise that
Oh my God.
fathers have given us?
Because have you met Black people?
This is serious. This kid keeps blocking our view.
Like, hope is infused in our DNA. Like, you're still like, like if we haven't been broken now, be it through slavery, through capitalism,
Give it to me.
colonization, through segregation, through, I mean, the history of Black people in this country is, at one point, we were 3/5 people. That was a written law. And look at us now. We are whole. We are Black girl magic. We are Black boy joy. We are, you know what I'm saying? And what I think about in terms of giving us hope, right? We're making a lot of people nervous right now, Carrie. We're making a lot of people nervous right now because they're like, everybody has a position to play, and so play your position like a shortstop, bro. So whoever you are and whatever you do, play your position. So activists could look like, you know what? I'm not the one that's built to be on the front line, but you know what? My pockets go deep, so I would support the people on the front line. You know, I'm a comedian. Black joy is a form of activism.
There's always a call for entertainers or celebrities to have a platform to do something. Why aren't you speaking out? I'm not a believer in thinking that it's mandatory, like you said.
I think I should move my mic.
Be an activist and be activated in different ways. But talk to me about the connection. Talk to me about the marginalization in your world and how you feel like it even inspires you to say more and use your platform to do more.
Beneath the surface of what we do, like Niecy Nash says, it's the who, right? The who is the person who's going to be like, hey, let me call this out. Either blind racism in terms overt racism, in terms of ways that we can be better, in terms of ways that we can actually be more uplifting to the community that you may not even realize that you're serving.
Before I let you go, talk to me about the urgency, in your opinion, for people to vote, our people to get out.
If I get kicked out of this game, I'll try and get into a game fast.
Fine. If you think you're tired now, I'm tell you right now, we cannot take this sitting down. We can't take this joking. I understand that it may be hard to figure out who to vote for, but at the end of the day, we gotta vote for our families. We gotta vote for our legacies. We gotta vote for continued progress. We have to vote for upward mobility. We have to vote for equality in a way that is long lasting. And if we succeeded before, we can do it again. We talk about the hope. This is the time. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to pretend away that we haven't made progress. We have. There's still much more to be done. And you know what? We might have to get to a point where we pass the baton to our children and our children's children, but we still have work to do now for that generation.
You are everything. You are Molly, but you are not Molly. But I love you so much as Molly on HBO's Insecure. You are an amazing podcaster, just Central Law. Shout out to Lovey. And then we also have movies. Like you have the world. You're a model, a cover model. Also, wait, don't let me forget your hugely successful stand-up comedy special on HBO. Girl, you're doing it all. And I am so grateful. You're truly the dream, not just the American dream. You're a black girl, brown girl. Imagery, everything. You're a beautiful, beautiful soul. I really, really mean that. Yvonne Origin, ladies and gentlemen, nothing but the best and excellence personified. Thank you so much.
I love you so much, Mama.
All right.
Yeah.
We're off.
So Atlanta has been one of the hotbeds in terms of political unrest and social injustice. We've seen so much happen in that city, and we've also seen so much come from that city, including one of our very own founding fathers of the civil rights movement, that's Martin Luther King Jr. But right now, we're looking at some of these use as a platform to talk about what we want to talk about.
I'm gonna put down my controller.
Atlanta's very own Russ joins us now. Russ, I'm not going to fan out and tell you what some of my favorite songs were that I would repeat from yours. We're going to get to the topic at hand. So we got to talk about, recently you did an interview where you shared your outlook on culture and music, and you also were very candid about the fact that you have a privilege that is necessary for you to give back. Tell everybody about that.
It's very obvious I'm white and I'm in black culture and I'm benefiting financially off it. So I feel like if you're a white person financially benefiting off of black culture, you have to put finances back into black culture. It's just that simple. The screenshots with your feelings, it just comes off like fake empathy. Because it comes off very dismissive and very oh, that sucks for y'all, but anyway, back to what I was doing.
Have you felt that way always, or is it now because of the time where we are in this country?
I've always had the feeling. I think now it's just obviously elevated to a new level, and there's new, it's to the point now where you can't, first of all, you can't not say anything. Second of all, though, I just think saying something isn't enough anymore. I think, if you have the ability to put money back into, a culture that you're financially benefiting from. If you have the ability to, you should.
It's interesting that you talk about it in that way because some people do believe that silence is the best way to go because it's hard to talk race, especially if you're white and you're in black culture. People just feel as if they can't talk about it. They feel awkward. They feel as if they don't have the privilege of the voice or the words. How do you find yourself right now in terms of interacting with people when they want to talk to you about social injustice, police brutality, what's going on in this country right now?
Well, first of all, picking and choosing whether you want to be silent or not about race, that's a privilege in and of itself. But no, I mean, I try to just do my best to listen to the black people around me and the educated black people I have in my life. So I do my best to not act like I have all the answers for everything, especially in a culture that I'm not from. But that's why when we decided to raise the money um, for Black Lives Matter organizations, when we raised 500,000, we got on the phone with some of the women who started Black Lives Matter. I got on the phone with Tamika Mallory. I was on the phone with Karen Civil, and talking with my friends to make sure the money went to like the correct places, and people who really need it. It's just about listening. That's all. It's about listening.
Let's talk about that for a moment because the way I think of activism, for me, it looks very differently. It's not necessarily just protesting on the front lines. I think that's great. But what about being an activist in the way in which you have decided to be one? What inspired you? What did it look like? You said you raised money for Black Lives Matter. What did you do? Walk us through everything that you did and how you find yourself in this moment right now.
So for me, it was 3 years ago. I had like a string of festivals, and I decided that I was going to wear T-shirts with a message on them because I figured, what better, what better time to use a platform than in front of a bunch of people. So one of the T-shirts I wore was, "If you want to change the system, speak up. White silence is pro-racism, the whole thing." And it didn't really it kind of got swept under the rug back then. But when all this stuff started happening again, and it's been happening, the police brutality against innocent black people, I was like, man, I'm not the biggest artist in the world, and I certainly don't have the most white fans in the world, but I got a good amount of people that I can definitely mobilize and turn into some money, and I know they're down for the cause because it's merch, it's a good thing. But I've always been outspoken anyway, and so how am I going to be in black culture and not be outspoken about racism?
And then I got to ask you this because you grew up in Atlanta, so that gives you a heads up depending for so many people because you're in the crux of that beautiful black city where there are so many wonderful black leaders, home of so much great music and things that speak to our culture right now. And we are really, really getting our word out, especially with this platform today, and saying that we must use our voice to vote. Talk to me about what the importance of voting for you in this upcoming election.
Yeah, so full transparency, I had never voted before, ever. And because, I was one of those people who was like, my vote doesn't matter. And I don't know, maybe it's because I was younger, maybe it's because I really thought that, or I don't know, but I just think that it's got to, now this is a bit of a privilege to say it's got to a breaking point for me because obviously it's been past the breaking point for black people. But I think that as a whole, the young people need to get out and vote because we're the ones that never show up. You know what I mean? We never show up to vote, but we're the future. So it's like, look, we got to go out there and vote, and then whatever happens, happens. But at least we did our part. You got to do your part.
You're very candid in saying that you just decided to vote, and I think there's a beautiful irony in the fact that you have your fans saying, because of you, I'm voting.
Right.
And there's something beautiful about that. But I want to know why now for you. Why in this moment is it important for you to vote? And what hit your spirit to say, yes, this is the time to do it?
Honestly, because I think that George Floyd really woke up a lot of people who, including myself, who I was vocal and outspoken about racism. I put it in my lyrics. I put it on T-shirts. I would talk about it in interviews. I was vocal about it. But that video in that moment, I think me along with a lot of other people just kind of was like, all right, like words are simply not enough anymore. We gotta do something, whether it's raising money whether it's voting or all the above. Like we got to do something, you know. And I'm ashamed that it took that for me to be like, I need to raise money and I need to vote. You know, it's a shame. And I don't know, it just, I guess it snapped a bunch of people out of it, you know. And even if you were vocal and whatnot, it's time to actually put your money where your mouth is. It's time to go vote. You know, it's time to just stop talking about it and be about it, you know. And it's been time for that, but like I said, you know, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to actually really be about it, but I'm here now.
So, Russ, we all know that this is going to be your first time voting. Tell me what that
Yeah.
experience is going to be like for you in terms of what you're excited about.
I think you know what it's gonna do for me? It's gonna let me know that I'm contributing to something bigger than myself and I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is and I'm being about it because you know for so long and I know I'm not alone with this but you know standing on the outside and just screaming about this and that and this should change and it's like all right but did you vote you know and so I'm you know I know it's going to feel good to know that I played a small role you know and that's the problem I think the mentality of like my vote doesn't matter needs to be changed to my vote, albeit small, does matter. It's a role I'm playing, and if I play my part and you play your part, and he and she plays their part, then we make a difference. But you know, it'll feel. I have a feeling it's gonna it's gonna feel very bigger than me. I mean, I think when you realize that giving uh, actually feels better than receiving, that's when you start wanting to do your part and contribute. So, voting is an easy way to give. You know.
Yeah. To whom much is given, much is required, and you have been given a huge platform, and we are so grateful for you, Russ. Philanthropist, artist, community activist, first time voter. We appreciate you for doing
Yes.
this, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, la la.
So, cities like Atlanta and Chicago have been at the forefront of the discussions, especially now in this country when we're talking about COVID 19 and systemic racism, as well as police brutality and what we can do in this country. Again, we're continuing our conversation, letting you know that your voice is your vote and your vote is your voice. We can change where we are in this country. Currently, I'd like to welcome in Chicago Cubs right fielder Jason Hayward. I appreciate you. I brought in Atlanta and Chicago because I know you grew up in the metropolitan area of Atlanta, more specifically McDonough. Let's be technical, and and you have been very vocal throughout this entire time in terms of what our country's been experiencing. Let's look at the past month and a half, if you will. What has been the hardest thing for you to deal with?
The hardest thing for me to deal with, Carrie, this last month has just been going from the virus shutting everything down to us being called to action. We've had multiple police brutality situations. We've had people protesting, wanting to get the message out. But I really realized that I need to be a part of the positive message and make sure that doesn't get lost in all the chaos going on for people to actually hear from a reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone involved.
A reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone involved, which leads us to More Than a Vote. It is a beautiful collective of Black athletes and artists. You are a part of that. Talk to me about why that's important for you right now and this be a part of that collective.
To me personally, it's important to be a part of that because I've somewhat used baseball and my craft as an excuse to not get more involved in voting. But I can't any longer use baseball and work as an excuse not to get educated and not also to show people like at any moment in time, any walk of life, we can make a difference.
So tell me in your words, what does activism look like for you?
In my words, it looks like LeBron James, the biggest athlete right now on the planet,
Hi.
speaking up and breaking the
Sorry if
ice
I'm
for everyone.
late to see your message, but
First
hi.
time people see and hear from us, so now we have white teammates, we have teammates, we have other people
Yeah.
speaking up and realizing, okay, like this is how we
After
go
this, I'm
about
gonna
it.
do this.
And to me right now, social media,
It says I might get kicked soon, so hopefully I can
You
get
said something
in
I thought was
fast.
so key because covering sports for so long, I know that it's tough for black players specifically in Major League Baseball to talk about how they feel. Adam Jones did it in a very eloquent way early on, but there are very few that are vocal. You said you all were afraid. Why use that word and why were you afraid?
We was afraid because in 2019 there was 68 of us total. And there were 38 teams. There's 25-man roster on each team. There's a 40-man roster, which is on each team as well. But there aren't many 25-man rosters, so we're outnumbered in that sense. But not always in a negative way when it comes to our teammates in our clubhouse. To get to this point, you have to move a certain way. You got to be careful what you say. You can't ruffle feathers. You can't come off in any way. Much like other black entertainers, much like yourself, probably having to live through life every day. But to get to the highest level, you got to button up. You got to be seen and not heard. So baseball is, like I said, it was time for us to try and speak up and make a difference and show it's okay to do so because we can't be quiet any longer.
That is a button up, be quiet, be seen but not heard. That is a an expression that a lot of Black folks can relate to in whatever aspect of professionalism that they experience, especially if they don't work for themselves. They just feel that. That is also a socialization that we have as Black folks, well, especially like you said, if you want to get to the higher level. And for so long, I felt it bubbling right underneath the surface that so many of us who were in whatever positions we were, who had platforms, were tired of pretending and looking the other way and spending so much time making others comfortable while we were uncomfortable. Do you feel that this is the type of movement that is sustainable, or is it just for a time?
No, it takes everyone joining in on the conversation. And right now, I feel like more than ever, there is little things as possible to distract from bigger issues. And we saw on draft day, we saw our president Theo Epstein holding up the sign saying Black Lives Matter and wanting to
Yeah,
include the rest of
yeah.
MLB in that. But now we're having those conversations as well. So I definitely think this is sustainable. And it's not always just going to be the popular thing to do. This is something that people want to get right because they know we care.
Jason, you said you think it's sustainable, that what you're seeing, especially with your colleagues in baseball, that this can be something where you're feeling more comfortable, feeling more safe to share how you feel about social injustice and police brutality. What are you doing right now in this moment with your platform to help change how we look at voting and how to educate the culture and the community about voting?
Well, first, what I'm doing, Carrie, is joining up with More Than a Vote and joining up with other athletes and entertainers to get that message out and use our platform in that sense as a group. And try to create a brand with this to make it something that's not just about the election coming, make sure that it's about people getting educated for years to come and figure out where to vote and how to vote. We've got people in different areas that cover different demographics and influence different areas of people. And as a baseball player, as a black baseball player, I feel like now, like we talked about, is finding the time to show people that you can use your voice in this profession. You don't have to be afraid. And to me, that can help someone, help a kid growing up. He can see me, he can see other guys that were in the video we posted saying, hey, this is what they're standing for. They're speaking up for these things, and it's okay to want to play baseball. It's not lame. It's not something I have to be as afraid of as I was before. So I feel like that's my role in this. I have a younger brother as well. He's 24. He also plays baseball. So I've got to lead by example. I can't just always, come up with a good answer that sounds good on TV when I get asked a question on, what do we need to do to make changes. I'm joining up here to make sure that I take action and get educated myself. For one, so many people, I feel like in Atlanta, they're on the move. Or when you want to try to make a vote and try and cast your vote, you have to do it by mail. You have to sign up for the absentee ballot. Then you have to get another ballot in return. They have to send it back to you. Well, for me personally, they didn't send that back until it was too late, right? We didn't get it in the mail to the address that's an Atlanta address at my parents' house. We didn't get that in the mail until it was too late. And then from other friends and family that are still in Georgia right now, I just hear about them being held in lines too long and trying to get off work. And we know how it is for any family, but let alone a black family in the inner city or in the suburbs trying to take care of their family and trying to provide for them. You try to get off work, and then you're like, wait a minute. You start looking at the clock. It's like, oh, this is not going to happen today, right? And so I saw, Mayor Keisha Bottoms, reach out via social media to people and say, hey, I'm going to address these issues right now. I need y'all to stay in line to cast your votes. Keep hanging in there. So to me in Georgia, that's what that looks like.
Well, it's interesting that you even bring that up because there have been all these images, specifically from Georgia, because that's such a battleground, where you see people, especially when it came to the primaries, doing whatever it takes. And
Hey,
this is
Solomon.
real life voter suppression that you're talking about. It's been happening for decades.
Sorry
It's
I
not
made you do it.
what you're
Just
saying,
that's
these
kind of screwed up
examples
the
of
side door
sending
now.
you
So
your ballot too late after the fact or shutting down the polls at 6 o'clock while people still are in line. That's a real life issue. There
also,
needs to be
Gumrip, if you're
systematic
still
change.
watching that
And I
time,
think
yeah,
that what we're
because
doing right now is fair.
that's
But the idea of voter suppression, do you think that that is well known, especially with folks, within the generation, your generation?
I think it's known in our communities, but I
no.
don't
Don't
think
kick
it's
me
spread
out.
out enough. I don't think people get enough light to bring it to light. Let people hear about it. Let people learn about what that looks like, and get more people to say, okay, look, this is going to happen. We have to expect this, and we can no longer make that excuse. We can't say they didn't know us.
Jason, everybody knows, or it feels as if everyone knows that the time is now. America's paying attention to us. We have their eyes, we have their ears. If you look toward the future, what are you most excited about in terms of seeing a change?
I'm excited about how fast the word is traveling. The word is being spread right now. The biggest athletes, the biggest icons, biggest entertainers are doing their part. But I'm also seeing people out there on the streets doing their part. When so many things got lost, could have very easily got in the in the commotion when it came to protests, and you saw rioting, you saw looting. People still stood their ground, and people still went out there and said, "Look, we're doing this for the right reasons. We're going to come together. We're going to use drones. We're going to use social medias." I feel like this is a new wave of getting things done the right way and just spreading the message.
You're right about that. And you're right. People are spreading the word unapologetically. We out here. We doubling down. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Right.
Yeah, la la.
Hey, everybody. I am so excited to welcome a friend, a brother, uh, family member, if you will, former colleague, NBA great, sports analyst, philanthropist. He does it all. And he's here to give us his time and his platform to talk about something that is so important, and that is voting.
The Electoral College chose the president. And if you put all of their pictures up, I'm pretty sure they look a lot more like each other than they look like you and I. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing, especially in urban environments, oh man, they create barriers for us, Carrie. It's like you got to jump over the fence, you got to run past the dog, you got to jump on the hood of the car. The lines is 5 hours long. You get up to the poll and they don't work. Elderly people working in the city, while they got the young people who understand technology working in the suburbs. Like these are all systematic things that try to discourage us from voting. And then finally, we don't have a day off to vote. We need to work. So we don't get a day off. It's gonna be a full day, and I gotta work to pay my bills. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mail in vote. And you know what you want people to realize, that that counts too. So your vote will be counted if you're able to mail it in. So those are a few things that I hope that we can do and mobilize. And shout to LeBron and his team. Shout to you and everybody involved. We will make a difference.
Well, let's talk about more than a vote. There is a black collective of athletes, of artists coming together and saying voter suppression is a real deal, especially in the black community. When you just talked about, I got to work, so I can't go vote. And then when we do get in the booth, just in case we don't have to work, do we know who we're voting for? Not only do we have to vote, we got to be educated. And it's not always even about the man who's in office or the woman who's in office for president. It's about your local elections. It's about the people who are your DAs, your state DAs, like the people who actually make change in your community, who will change police brutality, who will make sure that your community is taken care of, who will defund police and hope that they can help you in stopping police brutality. So talk to me about why you decided to be a part of More Than a Vote and what it actually means.
Well, it means a lot to be involved with such an impressive collective as you mentioned. And I've said this multiple times, and I know it can be uncomfortable when I say it, but a lot of times we have to get to the root of the issue before we find a solution. And the love black people as much as it loves black culture. And this collective, by the way, represents in a lot of ways what's encouraging, but also sometimes disappointing about our role as black people in America. Because we were brought here as labor and to entertain. And we use those vehicles to get paid and move to the suburbs and be the idols of white kids. And so now that we have this collective, I would say sports and entertainment represent the most powerful group of black men in the United States. I'm talking about money, power, celebrity, the ability to mobilize, community involvement, their leadership, their intellect. And so to have all of us pull it in the same direction at the same time for anything that we're passionate about is going to be a difference maker, but it's definitely going to be a difference maker in the 2020 vote, because we're going to make sure we inform everybody that they can let their voice be heard, and failure is not an option.
Jalen, what does voter suppression look like to you?
A perfect example took place recently, Carrie, in Kentucky. It was 6 p.m. at night, and so many people were standing in line enthusiastic to vote. And you know what they did? Locked the doors. And you know what the people did? They continued to bang on the doors, continued to bang on the windows. They continued to let it be known they were not going to leave the premises until they got a chance to vote. And you know what ended up happening? They opened those doors and allowed those people to vote. So do not be discouraged. These barriers show you that it matters, and we're here to help you break through them. The same thing with our platforms and voices, Carrie, because you know what's going to happen. At some point, Breonna Taylor is not going to be trending anymore. People are not going to be protesting anymore. But it's still up to us to keep making sure that our voices get heard, and this is one way to do so.
Right, and that is a form of being activated, being an activist. It doesn't have to be protesting. It doesn't have to look like what you think traditionally activism looks like. It's voting. It's that simple.
We now have to understand, like, this is a critical mass moment for this movement to continue to hold up as much steam for as long as possible. And that's what this collection is going to hopefully allow for that situation to happen.
Jalen, in today's age of technology, it should be easier to vote.
No doubt. It's like we call these devices smartphones, but yet I can't vote from them. All of the things that we do in our lives are in our phones. All of these barriers are things that people will need to overcome in order to create a level of enthusiasm to vote. And again, this is not political. It's your right to do so. And there's so many times where you feel like somebody may have gotten done unjustly in your community. Pay attention to who the judges are, who's running for Senate, mayor, governor. Pay attention who's running for president. And let's make sure in 2020 we make a difference.
Why is more than a vote so important and invaluable in our community right now?
Well, because right now, I think we have an opportunity to let our voices be heard louder than ever. Anytime you see the mobilization of white kids holding Black Lives Matter signs, that means there's a breakthrough. Now, what happens with that breakthrough is the next step. You're going to look down in your email, Carrie. You're going to see all of these companies telling you how they're going to work on their diversity, how they're looking themselves in the mirror. They need to make change. Just like in sports, right? You look on the field and on the court, all those black players. The further you get up, it's like altitude or a ladder. It gets thinner and thinner. And so a lot of people talk about the system being broken. I hate to remind people that it's not broken. It was built this way. And one of our ways to help change the system is to vote. So that's why more than a vote is so very important, so we can make sure everybody participates and gives themselves an opportunity to let their voice be heard.
I think it's interesting because you talked about black men being very powerful in the U.S. if they're athletes and entertainers, because for so long those have been the only avenues traditionally to create wealth. The NBA season comes back. What are your feelings on the season coming back in the midst of everything that is happening?
I think you'll see players challenging the establishment more. You're going to see them saying, okay, if you have all of these marketing and promotional deals, how many of them are with minorities? How many people are you employing in NBA? What about certain teams? Who do you have as a minority owner? Or what about the candidates that you have for positions of power? NBA players have proven as blacks that they are now movers and shakers in the game. They're now the dog, not the tail. So if they decide not to play, some of the biggest social changes and conversations have taken place in sports that weren't during the game. Colin Kaepernick was before the game. The Ali Summit was a press conference. So they could mobilize if they chose to. But when and if you do play, challenge the league. Black Lives Matter on the jerseys. Continue to make sure that every time people are watching the game, they're also seeing the movement happen.
Jalen, I appreciate you because you are always entertaining and informative at once. I really, truly am looking forward to the NBA season. Thank you for working with More Than a Vote because your voice, your platform, all of it is needed, my friend. Be safe, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I love and appreciate you. One call away always.
Thank you. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Every conversation that we had today, I hope was helpful for you. I am so grateful to everyone who came on with me to talk about what's going on in our culture and how we need to change. Huge shout out to Jalen Rose, Bun B, Jason Hayward, Yvonne Orgy, and Russ. Their words were inspiring, but also important and invaluable. I hope your phone is full with all the information that we've been able to place in front of you. Again, you need to check out these resources because they are so important because we want you to vote. That is your voice. It is important. We, the people, want you to vote. So go to morethanavote.org, fairfight.com, and whenweallvote.org. Again, thank you so much for joining us and paying attention because this message, again, is invaluable. I'm Carrie Champion for We the People.